Sgt. Pepper's in the Space Between the Notes by Whiteley. The famous musical critic Sheila Whiteley in her book The Space Between the Notes gives a detailed analysis of prominent musical bands of the 20th century that have had a great impact on the development of the existing musical styles. The artists analyzed by the author may be considered as style setters in music, and it is no wonder that one chapter of Whiteley's book is devoted to the Beatles. The influence of this band on Western culture can hardly be overestimated. Without the Beatles, the overall picture of contemporary music tendencies would be another. Sheila Whiteley, in her book, focuses on the analysis of one of the most famous albums by the Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's. Many critics consider Sgt. Pepper's to be the album that expresses the general mood of the epoch. You want a piece of music to encapsulate the period it was written in, and Sgt. Pepper does seem to do that. The year of the album recording was rather eventful. It was a year of the Che Guevara's murder, debates concerning marijuana legalization, and the appearance of a variety of youth organizations. The author pays much attention to the influence of drug consumption by the members of the group on their musical creativity. Resorting to the analysis of the songs from the album, Whiteley finds examples of the drug's influence such as LSD practically everywhere. At the same time, it must be admitted that the general mood of the album is rather optimistic and full of life-affirming ideas. Allen Ginsberg, estimating this album, said, "There was here an exclamation of joy, the rediscovery of joy in what it was to be alive." Sheila Whiteley, analyzing the songs of the album, compares various music patterns and different musical techniques. Even though this album may be considered revolutionary in the history of rock music, it has peculiar features that are inherent to the Beatles. The initial song of the album, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, performs the role of an overture and creates a friendly atmosphere of togetherness and the mood of a festival. Soon after that, the next song, With a Little Help from My Friends, is introduced. This song has been written by Lennon and McCartney specifically for Ringo Starr. This musical track is logically connected with the previous one by a specially composed piece during which the military band Billy Shears is playing. Ringo Starr sings this song accompanied by McCartney during the chorus. This repetition gives an additional feeling of support. Practically all the songs on the album are logically connected. The same goes for Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. This song reveals the demand of a lonely person for color, freedom, and beauty of love experienced on a trip. Whiteley states that the text of the song has been caused by the effects of the drugs. Nevertheless, the official version of this song's creation is Lennon's inspiration by a picture of his son. Moreover, this composition was at the center of a scandal when it was noticed that the title of the song might be represented by the abbreviation LSD. Whiteley analyzes every song of the album, trying to reveal the hidden context transmitted through music. Despite the general gaiety of the album, the themes touched on by the Beatles are rather serious, such as the place of an individual in society and conflicts between the youth. The theme of loneliness may be found in several songs of this album. For instance, such a song as Getting Better is a typical example of a person's rebellious mood and his unwillingness to correspond to the existing social norms, which is rather typical for the period of the album's creation. The young fellow is not satisfied with his school. His anger is emphasized in the song by the guitar staccato and bouncy rhythm. In this context, the repetition of the words better, better, better sounds ironically implying that the affairs are going backward. Much attention in the album is paid to the theme of loneliness, but in the song When I'm 64 it is represented kiddingly. The young man wonders whether his girl will leave him in his declining years or not. This song is characterized by a mixture of different musical styles, examples of which can be found in the Beatles' earlier works. As has been said before, the album is logically structured, and despite the variety of themes revealed in the songs, they all are subdued to the general mood. In this context, the reprise of Sgt. Pepper is very symbolic. It was the initial song, and the reprise meant the end of the show. At the same time, in the final track, there is no gaiety which is present at the beginning of the album. It sounds like a closing remark of the whole album.